this Drake feud is heating up, guys. So just to recap over the last few days, since the release of For All the Dogs by Drake, which was a mediocre album at best, okay? It was like a mid album, okay? At best, guys. To me, it had about 4 songs that were pretty good. Out of 23, 24, 25 songs, that's not that great. It's not that great of a, ratio. But that being said, guys, nowadays people just listen to music kind of for the singles. They don't really listen to full albums anymore. That's just the way music has, progressed. So, but anyways, getting back onto the album, guys, Drake obviously got super mad when Joe Budden, started dissing the album, okay? Now, which he's in every right to do. But Joe Budden, obviously, as he does, guys, with every, famous GOAT rapper, he takes it too far. He holds him to a higher standard, maybe. He basically just dissed the hell out of him, saying, you suck, this album is trash. He completely just roasts the guy and the album. He also takes personal shots at the people, which, when it comes to music, guys, in regards to music, I try not to do that on my channel, because I think that's some little, biatch type stuff, guys. I don't really think that you should be, shooting jabs at people, to their family, or, to the people that help them make the records. I think that you should keep it strictly music-wise. But, that being said, guys, if you want to take shots at someone, you have every right to as well. But that opens up a world of hurt for Joe Budden. So, he replied saying, basically, Drake replied saying, you're a brokey. I own a 767, which is a personal jet, guys. Which, by the way, costs probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, 100 million. So, absolutely outrageous money. And, basically said that you take private jet flights on the weekends, sometimes when it's your birthday, on special occasions. So, calling him a brokey, which to me, guys, I actually like that kind of diss, because at the end of the day, guys, when you measure success of music, how do you measure success in the world? For me, I kind of measure success the amount of monetary gain that you can get from the passion that you love, okay? If I became a millionaire from something, I would probably say I'm more successful, even if the guy has more sales than me, than another guy who's not really making that much money, guys. You see how that works? Because, money kind of talks at the end of the day, and, Joe Budden, as big as his podcast is or whatever, will never, ever, ever be on the level of any of these people that he disses, whenever they drop an album. And obviously, him being an ex-rapper, I'm going to use that term super loosely, guys, because he wasn't really ever a rapper like that. He was kind of like super mid. I mean, it is funny, a guy that's a mid-rapper to be judging a guy's music, on basically, and also taking personal shots. Like I said, it goes a little bit too far. But it is funny. I guess he kind of finds it a bit disrespectful. To me, guys, I know my place. You know what I mean? I'm not a rapper. I just listen to music, every single day since I was like 5 years old. So I kind of understand music a little bit, rap music especially. I understand the sound that I like. And I just, talk about the music that I like, guys. Nothing too controversial. Joe Budden, on the other hand, always has to make it something about himself, guys. But that being said, guys, I will say Joe Budden, he is one of the biggest, marketing geniuses, guys. Whenever he sees an album drop, he takes the opportunity to diss the person so he can take all the traction for himself. So I get that, guys. War is good for business. I will say that. If I came on this channel and dissed a bunch of Irish people, I would have the biggest Irish subscriber base in the country. Guarantee, guys. And that being said, guys, I take jabs at Jacksepticeye all the time. I take jabs at these other big influencers because they're really POSs, guys. They're a piece of shit, and they don't really do anything for the culture or, anything for the scene. That being said. But just to take jabs at people never-endingly, like Joe Budden does, is not good for business, guys. I would take small jabs here and there, and war can be profitable. But that being said, I wouldn't be too often. So, coming on from that diss, Joe Budden also shared the DMs that he got from Drake the same day. So, publicly, Drake attacked him, and then in private, he also DM'd him. So, we're going to read out the DM that Drake sent Anthony, or Joe Budden, his little stage name there. So, this one should be incredible. So, he says, "Take a chill pill, Anthony," which, is like the most Drake opening line of all time. He says, "Have a drink, throw on some instrumentals, maybe write one of those fellas. Do your thing, let me do my thing. Joints for all time's sake. A little radio play would do you some good, papa." So obviously, that is the classic Drake opening line. But, he's basically dissing him there, saying that Joe Budden never got airtime. never got radio play. And here's the thing, guys. I remember listening to an interview of Eminem back in the day. I know everyone always says you bring Eminem into everything, but he said back in the day, do you want to be an underground rapper with Brokey, or do you want to be a mainstream massive influence? I want to be massive mainstream influence, the culture, loads of money. I don't want to be a guy who's underground, and not able to sell anything or do anything. That to me just doesn't make any sense, guys. You have to get somewhat a bit of radio play. All the best rappers, in my opinion, did that. DaBaby, he has songs with Post Malone, Rockstar, all these massive songs. So not only does he have the underground rappy type stuff that I love, but he also has the mainstream stuff that the mainstream, women and the people that don't really listen to music, rap music that heavy love also. So, marketing genius. DaBaby I love. One of my favorite rappers of all time. DaBaby is... Lil Baby has some songs like that too. There's a ton of rappers as, obviously the guy I mentioned, Post Malone, a ton of different rappers that do that. So just being, hardcore gangster that Joe Budden thinks he is, it doesn't matter, guys, because at the end of the day, if you're broke for your whole life and not able to pay your bills, it doesn't matter how good of a rapper you are. End of story. So the DM continues, because you bring up my friends and my women, I F like you know anything about that. I don't give a F what you listen to in your free time, because the people who I care about don't have free time. Damn, bro. The number one measure of a high status male is how much free time do you have, guys. Me, I have very little free time, guys. Even though, I don't have much money at the moment. I'm getting money, doing my personal training, doing my YouTube channel. My YouTube is blowing up the last few months. But the number one measure isn't money, isn't how many women you get with, isn't anything in the world. It's basically, somewhat to a degree, how much free time you have, guys. If you were to ask Tom Brady, can I do an interview? He would have to check his schedule for 6 months out. Maybe a year out. Maybe if you ask Drake, yo, Drake, let me get you on the interview. Drake would be a year out type of guy. Like, maybe a couple of years out. He might be a couple of years out. He might have, to move around a few things. So his itinerary is booked up for the next year or two. So, free time is one of those things that if you say this guy has just too much free time in their hand, it's basically the biggest diss in the world. It basically says that you're a low value guy. You're a low value male that doesn't have any that has all the free time in the world to, go on Twitter and just be tweeting constantly. If you see guys that are tweeting constantly on Twitter, you just know, or they're just constantly talking. Like, obviously this is like my job now, so I can talk, freely, part-time. But, if you're not getting money from it, guys, then, the guy obviously, he's doing it for free. So he's a brokey, like, basically is what he's trying to say. So Drake's absolutely roasting him there. He also saying about the women that he's having, that he slept with. And guys, to be honest, like, I think Joe Budden's just mad because he's, he can't get with any women or something. I don't know what his problem is. A lot of people say that, I don't know, understand. But yeah, I also don't care if you dislike something or talk about my life and stuff. Like you trying to plant some seed or paint some narrative and turn people against me. Talk about the music. If you hate it, you hate it. But you're talking out here about me effing 25-year-olds, and that S feels malicious to me, and I don't do well with that. Your nerd co-host can sit and talk about gangster this and gangster that, but you know how we get down. So keep it journalistic, jabronis. Yeah, so he's basically saying, don't talk about the women that I'm having sex with, 25-year-olds, which Drake is only 35. So, especially for a celebrity, that's pretty normal, guys. Look at people like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's been doing that for the last 30 years. You know what I mean? So I don't know why people are upset about that. They're upset because, maybe he thinks that he's getting hotter women than him. Definitely that's another high status thing. Can you get, good looking women? Can you get a lot of them? And Joe Budden knows that he can't. He doesn't have that pull. But Drake can get any woman pretty much ever, guys. Especially in Canada and the US. Where they understand the culture the most. So, that being said, guys, Joe Budden's pissed off. And then at the end, it's kind of funny because I'm not going to take Joe Budden's side on this. But Drake says, you guys all act like you're gangster, but you know how we how we get down. Right? He said, we're basically much more gangster than you. And if you keep talking, nonsense about me, I'm going to put a hit out on you. Which I don't really agree with, guys. I think that, he's basically threatening violence against him if he doesn't shut the hell up. And Joe Budden seems to kind of pipe down when he's reading out the messages. I will say Joe Budden kind of shuts the hell up because I don't think he wants to smoke from Drake. But the thing is, guys, for me, I laugh a lot because Drake, you know, he says like, oh, I'm going to send you an ear or a finger in the letterbox. But I just started laughing when he said that in 8 a.m. in Charlotte or whatever, because to be honest, guys, Drake just isn't that guy, man. He's just not a ruthless gangster like that. He's just not, guys. You know what I mean? If DMX said that or 50 said that, oh yeah, then you start being afraid, guys. You have a guy like Drake saying, I'm gonna cut you up. I can't even say that without laughing, guys. Yeah, Drake is just not, you know, he wouldn't do any gangster stuff like that, guys. But maybe if he said my people would do it, then you'd be scared. But, you know, but he said personally he would do it, which, you know what I mean, definitely isn't as scary, yeah, as it thinks. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments down below. This one's heating up. I think this is probably the biggest beef in like the last like 3 years in rap music since Eminem killed MGK. It's kind of good to see a little bit of beef. Tell me also what you guys think about the album. Like I said, guys, I didn't think the album was trash. I thought there was 4 pretty amazing good songs in that. Pretty amazing songs in that. I will say that. I think the album was pretty amazing. Those 4 or 5 songs, 4 songs. You know, some people said 6. I say about 4 for me personally. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys all there, man. Peace.